Technology is a communication tool. So today we will be talking about the different technologies that you can use for communication. So just as housekeeping, I'm going to go through just kind of where you can find all of the information, all of the slide decks, the recorded presentations, as well as any distributable materials that we will have will all be on our Brokers Portal website. So if you don't have access to that, please send me an email following this presentation. If you go to our Brokers Portal website, you will go up to if you go to the HRT Advisors website, on the upper right-hand corner, there's a login button that you just click there. And then once you've logged in, this is our Brokers Portal website. If this is new, I hope that you will log in and explore it a little bit. Then you'll go to the HRT Academy button on the toolbar, and then go to HRT Boot Camp, and that is where you will find all the materials. All of our most recent recorded webinars will be right on the front page. On this Brokers Portal website with the HRT Bootcamp, you'll see all of the recorded webinars as well as the old PowerPoint presentations and then any materials. Today we're going to be distributing a broker questionnaire or a short survey that you will be able to bring with you to your client meetings, and that will be available immediately following this presentation, and we will also email it to all the attendees of this presentation. Please feel free to ask me questions as you go along, and I'd be happy to answer them as we go through, or I'll save some towards the end. So as a reminder, today we are really going to talk about how to start this conversation about technology with your clients. What are their wants and needs? Really dive into some of the details and why that's important. And then we'll also show you some really cool technology solutions and how you actually make those possible. I know we talk a lot about going mobile, optimizing your portal, but what does that mean and how do you do that for your clients? And we're also going to show you certain vendors that can make these solutions possible for you. So the first thing is first, and that's you need to start by having conversations with your clients. You need to be asking them the right questions. So on the screen is the broker questionnaire that will be distributed to all of you following this webinar. This is not the client summary form that you fill out for consulting. This is really just to guide you in client meetings. So you should bring it with you until you really feel comfortable talking about technology. It's helpful because you'll log in client name, industry, number of people, because that can make a difference in who the vendors that we select are. For instance, smaller clients under 100 lives have a whole different pool of vendors that are best in class versus ones that are maybe over 500 lives to over 1,000 lives. The first question you need to ask your clients is, do they have a way to manage their employee data? Many of you are probably already doing this. You'll know that they have an HRIS system. You may know who their payroll vendor is. But some of you may not be asking these questions. So the first thing you need to ask is, do they have a system in place to manage employee data? If they say yes, are they happy with it? That means sales. Are they really happy with the service side? Are they happy with the technology piece of it? Are they really unhappy with service? We hear that all the time from clients that have ADP. They really like the technology, but they hate the service. We can find solutions for them there. If they're happy with their current platform, they don't want to change anything, then that's where we can impact them through some of these technology capabilities that we'll talk about later. Are they able to use mobile technology? Have they optimized their current platform to make it a better user experience for the employees? If they are unhappy, is there a solution available for them, or do they need to switch vendors? Sometimes we have clients that have issues with implementation with ADP. If it's fairly recent, please give us a call. We'd be happy to try and set up a plan to maybe help them out with some of that implementation issues. Talk to them if their concerns are going to end the relationship with that vendor. If so, we can certainly get on the call with us, fill out the client summary form, and we'll try to find them a new vendor that's better suited for them. If your client doesn't have a system in place today, do they want to have a system in place? If they don't have any interest, that's where you as the broker can really discuss the advantages and concerns surrounding implementation. You know, talk to them about how it can really ease their administrative duties. It can help them eliminate paper forms. It can track some of their systems and solutions so that it becomes a little more automated. It can also help with compliance. Maybe they need help with FMLA. There's different technology tracking that you can do and vendors that'll be helpful. If they want to add a system, an HRIS system, or really just a way to manage their employee data, but they don't know where to start, that's where you can talk about your relationship with HRT and how you will be able to help them find a vendor that's perfectly suited for their wants and needs.
This is
So
this is Joe. Sorry about Anna. Just want to jump in. Just for those of you on the phone, if you have any questions, type them in. I have access to the questions, so as Anna speaks, that I'm going to be the I could respond to those questions. And second thing is I jumped in a little late here to make sure everyone understands the purpose of this webinar, and what we really want to get people to do is understand that it really starts as a conversation with the client. Many of you heard me say before, you need to understand the tools of your trade, and as what this presentation is all about is getting you to become better at out there talking to your clients about communication strategies, right? You do an employee meeting, is it in paper or you do it on the web? And that's kind of what it's all about. And we had a client the other day, they wanted to send text message out of their system. I mean, I don't know how many of you are equipped to start having that conversation. Can you send a text message out of an HR system? So that's what this is about really making sure that you could go out and start talking about it. So this whole program is about that. When today is communication strategies. I'm of the belief, and many of you have heard that from me before, that benefits is going to be communicated. Employees are going to be using web and mobile to get an understanding of their benefits and what is your role in the process. And that's what this presentation today is all about, is getting you better at that role. So sorry about interrupting, Anna, but
no, feel free to jump in.
Let everyone hear. I have a hard time shutting up, but we'll let you jump in. But also, I want to make sure that people can type in questions, and I'm here to answer them. So go ahead. There you go.
Okay. So once you've had these type of conversations, really the starting conversations with your clients, the next step is putting that into your business strategy. And that really comes down to you work with your carriers all the time. There's a way that technology is impactful, and you should use your carrier connections for some of the tools to help your clients that way too. Asking questions in RFPs to your carriers. If you're not already doing this and your client has EDI file feed set up with their current vendor, it can be really crucial because you want to make sure that they can feed the right way. Do you know the time frames in place? Can they do an EDI file feed with the current vendor? And then one other thing that's really, really important is knowing if they have a sample implementation plan and timeline for the EDI file feed. Those can vary. They're usually around the 6 to 12 week mark, but it's good to understand what their plan is. Do they have a plan in place for these type of implementations, and is it painless or is it pretty painful? And then also asking carriers if they have any content to put on their platform that can promote their products, videos, calculators for life insurance or disability, frequently asked questions. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's really taking it to the next level, making sure that you're implementing this technology into that second side of your business. It's not just about making sure that they have the right vendor in place. It's making sure that that you are using the right tools of your trade and really enhancing the full experience for your clients. So that brings us to the next piece of our presentation, and that's technology capabilities for communication. We're going to talk about portal optimization, mobile technology through applications, and text messaging. We talk a lot about mobile, so we hope this will be helpful so that you can really understand how to make that possible. Decision support tools. We talk a lot at HRT about how private exchanges really are just an HR platform paired with a decision support tool. So we're going to show you a few of those. Live chat capabilities and carrier videos to enhance the employee experience on their portal. And then we've gotten a lot of questions about ACA tracking. It may not seem like a communication tool, but it is another way to be having the conversation with your clients. And we felt like time was of the essence for ACA tracking, so we wanted to bring that in as well. So first things first, you need to make sure that your clients are optimizing the portal that they already have. ADP's generic portal is pretty minimalistic. It's not the trendy minimalistic that looks pretty cool. It's very bland. There's not much on it, and it doesn't help the employee understand their benefits better.
Anna, let me jump in here, as I say I do. When we use the term portal, everyone thinks it's like a separate website. And going back to the last slide, and this is ADP version 2.0 versus version 7.0, which is the Workforce Now more current. These vendors allow you to add content. So it's not a separate portal, okay? It's intended to be, it's usually an HR, even a benefit system. They allow you to add lots of content to it. So basically, they give you a place to communicate benefits information if you want to do that. So when we say portal optimization, how do you take something like this, and she's going to show you in a second, and use this as a communication tool? And do you know what communication tools your clients already have? And most brokers I talk to are ignoring this, what I call portal optimization. So when we say portal optimization, we mean usually the system may be using for HR, benefits, or payroll. And do they allow the optimization? Can I add content to it to make it better than what it is out of the box? There I go again.
No, feel free to jump in. So when we talk about adding content, in order to add content, you need to use a thing called JavaScript, which I can tell you I don't know how to write, but we do have somebody in our office who can write it. And so we can help your clients optimize that portal that Joe was talking about.
Yeah, it's Java or HTML code. You don't need to know about that. You don't need to know about Java or HTML code, but we know about it. So, that what you saw on the prior page, that is something we can do to provide some of these portal vendors to add content.
So after you add the JavaScript or HTML code, after it's been optimized, this is what the page can look like. This is a world of difference from the first ADP page that we showed you about. It actually helps the employee better understand what life insurance is, how it can be explained through a video. If you have live chat capabilities, they could talk with the employer or even with the broker to better explain that, and frequently ask questions. Life insurance, disability, accident, critical illness, I know can be very tough to explain, and we all know that at open enrollment meetings, employees aren't necessarily paying attention, and by the time that they get home to talk to their spouse about electing their benefits, they probably have no idea what they're talking about. So we want to make sure that part of the purpose of optimizing these portals is so that they can make better educated decisions and be able to talk with their spouse, talk with their family, find the right plans that are best for them because they understand them.
There's a great question here, Anna.
As brokers,
okay, sorry about that. Okay. There's a question, and I think it's one of these questions that is good and asked for all. And the question is, if you optimize the page, will ADP charge more? Okay. First of all, ADP is not in the business of optimizing their portal. Okay, so this is number one. They show the client and they give the client the tool, but ADP is not going to create this page. ADP is not going to create the HTML code on the prior page. Okay, so I look at ADP as just a platform, and I equate it to Amazon. If I'm Sony, and some of you have heard me say this before, and Sony wants to sell their products on Amazon website. Amazon doesn't create Sony's content. Amazon gives Sony a place to put the stuff. Okay, but they leave it up to whoever's providing the product. Okay, whoever's providing the product, they give a place to put stuff. And what we're talking about here today is, ADP or bswift or Ultimate Software or all these vendors give you a place to put stuff. But ADP and Ultimate Software, they don't put stuff there. They don't provide the content for the products that your employer may have purchased, your health insurance products or disability insurance. So who's in the business of communicating benefits? You guys do. You do employee meetings. So that's kind of the point here, is that we, through working with you, can help bring a better experience to your clients. This idea of portal optimization, so that what Anna's showing, that your version. If the client gets ADP through you, it's going to be better than getting ADP or Ultimate Software or Ceridian from the broker on the street, because you understand that these portals can be upgraded or optimized to look better, to communicate more information, and that's what we're talking about. So yeah, waiting for the software vendor. So it's a very good question, Lori. Thank you very much. Don't expect ADP or Ultimate Software or the employer to be able to do this. You know, the employer is not going to create Unum's content. So who's going to do it? That's you, with our help. All right.
So that leads us to the next section of using the vendor's mobile applications or text messaging tools. ADP, it can link with their payroll, with medical insurance. So this is a way that you can bring it home, again, to employees to better enhance that employee experience. That way they can pull up their pay stub. You can request vacation day. I recently requested my vacation day to Joe, and he approved it. And then medical plans, you can pull up a plan description. You can have it, you can view your benefit card, just so that it's all convenient right there on your smartphone. ADP also has tablet applications that can assist with managers or with HR folks to help them better utilize some of their tasks, keep it all consolidated. You can view applications, you can view employees, and go to different locations all within ADP's tablet application. We do show you a lot of ADP smartphone applications if you've been on some of our previous, so we wanted to show you some other vendors as well.
Yeah,
this is the bSwift application.
I want to emphasize that the only reason we show ADP a lot is because we use it ourselves. We use it ourselves because we want to know what they're doing, and we want to understand how to use their system. So it's easier for us to get screenshots and things from them than other people. But I want to emphasize all day long that ADP is certainly not the only application that your client's going to have. They may have Ultimate Software, they may have others, they may have Ascentus. So I just want to really emphasize that.
And also just to emphasize, on this presentation, we will be showing you some different technologies from different vendors. That's not necessarily saying that we are saying that these are the best of the best, but they're a way for us to show you some of the different options out there in the marketplace. On the bSwift mobile application, you can check your benefits on there. bSwift is just a benefits enrollment platform, so they're not going to be able to pull up their pay, request vacation days. It's not all-encompassing. They do have a tablet application as well. Ultimate Software has a mobile application and has a tablet application. And Ultimate, you can pull up your net pay. You can do many of the same things that you can do on ADP. Ultimate Software, also, if you have an employer ask their employees for their cell phone number, they'll be able to put in their cell phone number, and then they'll select their carrier that they have for their cell phone, and then it'll automatically convert it into an email address. And that way, HR people and folks at the company that use Ultimate Software can send a text message through Ultimate to all of their employees. So certain vendors do have that capability. I know that we in Massachusetts have had a ridiculous amount of snow. We've had about 6 feet in the last 30 days, which is crazy, but one thing that's been really beneficial is you've been able to, some companies have been able to text message their employees, hey, you have a snow day or late start, please just take it slowly. But it's also been a really good time for people to say, hey, that's something that I really want, just because it's a great way to communicate with their employees. If the vendor that your client has can't have that capability, there are external vendors. A lot of them will just request that you have a report with their cell phone number, first name and last name, so that they can send them a text message, and then they'd import it into their system.
So I want to jump.
Just like we were talking about before, optimizing your portal.
Yeah, here's an important thing. Okay.
Go ahead.
As versus an unimportant thing. We have analyzed these systems and understand which ones you can send a text message out of versus which ones you can't. So what we are showing you here is if a system can't, the system itself cannot send a text message, we can show the employer how they could export, if they have the email addresses as here and or the cell phone numbers of these people, that they could export a report from any system, bswift, ADP, Paychecks, Ultimate Software, Benefit Focus, whatever it may be, and be able to generate a text message through this Excel spreadsheet. So if your clients don't know how to do that and they want to use text messaging to reach employees, you may send this text message like your open enrollment period starts today and ends Friday, whatever it may be. Whatever you want a text message. If they want to do that, we can help you help your clients do that within almost out of any platform.
Yep, exactly. So that's really what we're showing here. You can have employees opt into text messaging alerts. That's really what this page is showing. So that's really the end of our section on mobile applications and text messaging capabilities. Now we're going to jump into decision support tools. When you pair these decision support tools onto really any platform, it can help employees better understand which is kind of the right version or right medical plan for them, or making the right decisions for their benefits. bswift, certain vendors do have a decision support tool that you can add on for an additional charge within their own system. Ask Emma is a decision support tool. Alex, the Jellyvision benefits counselor, is probably one of the most common in the marketplace right now. You can pair it with any system. They'll ask you specific questions. Are you going to be adding a child? Are you going to be covering your spouse? All of those different questions to help make the right decision for you. Alex does also have a mobile application, so people can do it while they're on the go. But these are really good ways for people who are looking for that private exchange option to kind of create that with the portal that they already have.
Now, just to validate this, Jellyvision is a benefits communication tool. It doesn't necessarily have to go with a private exchange. We could create a Jellyvision benefits communication and decision support platform, okay, and integrate it into any technology solution, right? ADP, Ultimate Software, Ceridian, once again. Some of the benefits enrollment vendors, the bswifts, the liaisons, the business solvers, or whoever may be, may have built their own decision support tools, but Jellyvision is a tool that we could implement into almost any HR or benefits platform. So it is independent of a software. Go ahead.
Yep, that was all on decision support. Then we've talked to you a lot about adding videos, content to help engage that employee on their portal. A lot of these companies actually, a lot of the carrier companies do have videos that they can add. I'm going to pull up a different web page. So this is a web page that we have built that is optimized, and when you click on this link, I already have it loaded, it goes to an all-state disability video. So I'm just going to play about 30 seconds of it just so that you can hear kind of how a video from a carrier can help with understanding disability insurance.
Because your employer cares about you, they're making Allstate benefits available to you. That's right, Allstate. Surprised? Don't be. The good hands have been protecting people like you in all sorts of ways for over 50 years. Are you in good hands? Can be.
You can't predict when or if you'll become disabled, but disability coverage from Allstate Benefits can help you plan ahead. This valuable coverage can help provide income should you become disabled and unable to work. With a disabling injury occurring every 1 second, it's easy to see how this valuable coverage could help when you need it most. Allstate Benefits disability coverage.
So just to give you a brief idea, we'll go back to the presentation now. Darn it, it moved my mouse. So we really like the videos that are available just because they allow you to have that one-on-one feeling with an employee so that they understand, can maybe have some of their questions answered when they're at home. Because some people, when they're at an open enrollment meeting, may have been running a little bit late, may not have had time to really understand their disability insurance, or haven't had time to really look into it. So videos are a good way to spend about 2 minutes, learn about the coverage so that they can make a better decision. Just if you go onto YouTube, Aflac, MetLife, other carriers also have videos you can look into. We really recommend that all brokers start contacting your carriers. We're going to put up on our brokers portal website different emailers that you can email your clients to be asking so that you can start creating a content library of videos, frequently asked questions, those type of things so that we can put them onto a portal. If you'd like to share them with kind of the rest of the people on the call, some of our other partners, please feel free to send them to me and I'll post them on our brokers portal website so you can see some of the other content.
So basically what we're saying is your job, and I don't want to be ahead of you here, Anna, is to gather content from your vendors, okay? Whether it's frequently asked questions or videos, your carriers are promoting their products. You sell them. We can make these platforms look and better. So when an employee logs on a Saturday afternoon, they're going to have more information and you'll be able to communicate with them because you're giving them frequently asked questions. You're giving them a 2-minute video on why I need disability. You give them a calculator on how much life insurance I should need. Maybe you give them a place to click and ask your benefits broker a question, and they could click and send out a question, and someone in your office could get back to them. I don't know, but what it is about you aren't in the business of creating Unum's content or Assurance content or Blue Cross's content. You know, and you don't want to always be sending them to the Unum page or wherever, okay? As I said, if I go into Amazon to buy a Sony TV, Amazon just doesn't give me a click and a link to Sony website. Sony puts their content on the Amazon portal, their page, so that I have a good user experience. And really that's what we're talking about here, is we can create a better user experience, but we are not in the business of gathering and creating Unum's content or Blue Cross's content. You know, that's your job to gather it, and it's probably the carrier job to create it. We can help you put it up on the platforms so that you can show your clients that when it comes to benefits communication, you guys are able to use the latest and greatest tools. Now, as you if you gather this content, if you want to share it, if there's stuff and you want to put it up we could put it up on our portal, a video by various vendors, so you could access a whole library. Anyone who sends it to us will put it up in our library, and you'll have access to this content so that when we put in an HR benefit system, we could use this content to upload onto these platforms.
Exactly. That flows perfectly, Joe, into the live chat capabilities. You can pair live chat with some of these portals you can have them go directly to an employee or an HR staff, or you could even have it for an employee to ask brokers questions, just as a different way. We definitely recommend having a management system, a technology management system for you for sales, prospects, clients, all of that. And certain live chat vendors can actually pair in with that so that you can track all of your questions that you get from employees, add them as a contact, and then put in notes. You can have canned responses under live chat. And again, these are just vendors that we found that can do this. There are other vendors out there, but this is another way that you can communicate better with your employees. You can also transfer different chats to other people in your agency. Maybe somebody is better equipped for disability questions versus health insurance, eligibility, EOI. Different questions could go to different people. They also have video chat capabilities. So if that was something you'd be interested in, certain live chat vendors certainly can add that on top. I know that I personally really like live chatting when I am shopping online. I have an issue with something on a website. I typically go to the live chat option first. So this is a good way for people to, take just a couple minutes, shoot a question, as opposed to having to wait a whole long time to be getting a response from either the HR department, having to call you, just depending on your service.
So and basically what that section's all about, and it may not be live chat, and people say, well, who's going to be on the other end chatting? Well, if that's a service you want to provide and say between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday for the next 2 weeks during, your 2,000 person firm's open enrollment, you're available to live chat, or you maybe create and email your benefits counselor. Where are you going to put that live chat? That's where we showed it. You'd put it on the enrollment platform they're using, whether ADP, Ultimate Software, Ceridian, bSwift, whoever. What if you provide telehealth? Do you have a link to do telehealth, or do you have video chat? So as we start entering the consumer-centric model, if that's the term you want to use, how do you engage the consumer? Because the consumers are using these platforms. See, that's where the consumer's going. They're, as I said, they're going to Amazon, they're going to ADP, they're going to Ceridian, they're going to Ultimate Software. So you have to engage them where they are. And what we're saying is that we could give you the tools to put onto these various platforms if you want to extend how you engage an employee. And whether it be a chat group or a live chat or a live video or whatever, we're able to help you put that on various technology platforms. And all these things that we're talking about today, you could definitely promote it. First of all, we're not saying any of it's for free to the client. And we're also not saying, that you need to be able doing it today, okay? But to be able to go out to a client or a prospect and say, here, Mr. Employer, technology is impacting the benefits business like it's impacting your personal lives. We can help you leverage technology to better communicate the benefits to your employees. We could put information on web and mobile. We could give them videos and live chat. And let me show you examples of that. That's where we want to get to, is so that you could have a conversation and create a differentiation between yourselves and what the other brokers are doing. As I said, getting ADP or Ceridian or Ultimate Software from you is a better experience than getting it from the broker on the street. It is not about helping ADP or Ultimate or Ceridian. It's about helping your client. You're not ADP or Ceridian's or Ultimate's advocate. You're your client's advocate. And that's really what we're talking about here. Whether you have a video from Unum or any Allstate, I could put it on any platform because it's about benefits communication. Next, sorry.
Don't apologize. So the final thing that we're going to be talking about is ACA tracking. We've had a lot of questions from brokers. How are people supposed to be tracking their employees? I know that being from the broker side, explaining stability periods, measurement periods, all of that can be very overwhelming. So there are technology solutions to help ease that administration, and we definitely recommend them. Certain vendors can actually generate the forms. Other vendors are in the process of actually e-filing for the clients so that they truly just have to click a button and then they're done with a lot of their 6055 and 6056 requirements. ADP can do a lot of this on their portal. You can see that they have different standard measurement periods and the initial measurement periods. It'll let the employer know if they need to offer benefits to an employee, if there's somebody in those current measurement periods, as well as differentiating between the hourly employees, whether they've been offered benefits, all of that. Workterra also has that built into their system. Many of our vendor partners do have this capabilities. It varies whether or not there's a cost to it or not. There's also third-party vendors that we found that can plug in with other solutions. It just really depends on the needs of the client, how complex they are. Do they need, a different person to be managing that for them? Is there something? There's also vendors who really can just take off the reporting off of an employer's hands. It's not a technology solution, but the employer can literally just generate a report, an Excel document, send it to this other vendor, and they will truly just track for ACA requirements and help them with those forms. So there's a lot of different capabilities out there. And if you haven't seen this, we actually did a survey of the different vendors in the ACA space. We have requested information from many of our payroll, HRAS, Ben admin vendor partners, as well as the third-party vendors. So we're really trying to keep that up to date. The most recent version is always going to be up on HRT Brokers portal. We can brand it for you, so please let me know if that's something you're interested in, but it's a really good way, and you can share it with the people in your office to kind of get an idea of what's going on in the marketplace and what different vendors are doing. Because as I mentioned, some clients really might need a lot of hand-holding. They might need a system to generate the forms for them and e-file on their behalf, just because they have so much other stuff going on. Others feel like they can do it themselves. They don't have a lot of influx or fluctuation in their employee management. So we wanted to kind of bring you all aware that we do have this out there for you. We want to make sure that you feel adequate to talk to your clients about Affordable Care Act solutions. So we've talked a lot about technology capabilities and talking with your clients and all of that. So what do you do next? And the first thing we always say, survey your clients, whether it's using the broker questionnaire that we will be distributing, and that's not the client summary form that you use for consulting. It's truly just a way for you to get that conversation started, and so you can start tracking some of the information. We also can do it electronically for your agency. That you can, if you contact us, we will send you a link, and you'll be able to survey your clients. There is a little bit of a cost for that. The second thing we recommend.
Let me make a point on this, okay? Is when you survey your clients, the idea is to find out what technologies they're using, okay? And in many cases, your clients may have a technology solution that they don't even know can contain or where you could add content. So the client doesn't know. So what we see going on in the marketplace is the client has an HR benefit system. It gives you many places to add content, videos, make it better. But the client doesn't know it, and the broker doesn't know it. So the broker goes and delivers an HR connection from Xywave or some benefit website, and they build it somewhere else outside of their current application, their current system. So it is very important to understand really what your clients are using. What places do you have, where are employees going to get work-related information? See, because benefits communication, and I was speaking to a prospect, 4,000 employees in the Washington, D.C. area. And, they talked about, they were talking about 401k and life and health insurance, and the client asked the broker in that prospect meeting, well, how are you going to communicate these benefits to my people? And the broker guy that started jumping in, and the broker brought me into the prospect meeting because they want to talk about technology, okay? But when the broker started answering, well, we could do employee meetings, blah, 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 and he started going into the traditional. And I jumped in and I said, well, how do you communicate with your people today? Because when it comes to communication, I'm an employer. I got to communicate stuff to my employees. You shouldn't have a benefits communication process and a 401k communication process and everything else I want to tell my employee communication process that, we're closing at noon on December 24th or whatever may be. So it's not about benefits communication. It's about creating an experience of communicating information from the employer to an employee in a very easy way. So when we talk communication, benefits communication should not be independent of anything else that employer may be communicating. Therefore, the broker questionnaire is intended to identify if the employers are already using other methods of communication. What technologies do you have today? Do you have a company intranet? Do your employees have email? For example, that's one of the questions on the survey. If 50% of the employees don't have email, then how are you going to email them something, okay? Or maybe they don't have internet access at work, but they have it at home. Or how many of your employees have a mobile device? So if you don't know how many of your employees have a mobile device, if you haven't asked them permission to send them a text message, then how are you going to use that? How are you going to know the method of communication if you don't know how the employer is already communicating with their employees? So that is just basically an intelligent discussion between you, and your client. And that broker questionnaire is intended, to find out what your clients are using. So there's the reason why for that. Thanks, Anna. And as I said, if I have to apologize for every time I jump in and talk, I'd be apologizing all day.
So the second thing that we recommend that we do that we've talked about throughout this presentation is creating that carrier content library. That can contain videos, calculators, frequently asked questions. Different vendors may have different solutions. They may have different things that they can post. I know that, United Healthcare, you can build different newsletters. There's different vendors are different in every single region, which is why it's really important that you, as your own office, start creating this carrier content library, because it will vary, and the carriers that you use will vary office by office as well. And then finally, continue to promote the HRT relationship with clients and prospects. We do have brochures, we have email marketing techniques, and then that really brings us into the next session that we are going to have for the HRT Bootcamp. It will be on March 10th. We'll be sending out that email notification to register shortly. It'll be talk the talk and walk the walk. We're going to walk you through how to have a meeting with your clients surrounding technology and differentiate slightly between sales and service, because there are some different sides of the broker house, and the meetings that you have do vary. So we are going to be providing materials for you to bring to your client meetings. So we're going to have some different things, different tools that we will be able to provide to you to make this really easy, and so that you are able to easily bring this relationship, talk about technology more easily for your clients. So if you're still not sure what you need to do, if you need help with a client specifically, if there's something going on, you're not really sure if we can help, please contact us. If you're not sure where to go, just contact me and I'll be happy to guide you in the right direction. So
I'm going to add
really the end of the scheduled.
I'm going to add here on the broker's portal, we have a sample of the, so if there's a takeaway action plan today, okay? On the broker's portal is the announcement and the survey you could send out to your clients to understand what their technologies are. We have a questions or a list of things that you could ask your carriers for that explains to them what you're looking for and why you want it. Why do you want the content from Unum? So, so I think the proactive part of this is that you want to be able to, here's what you can do as the broker, right? You could find out what your clients have. You can make sure they understand that you could help them with technology. And you could start the process of gathering this content from insurance companies and then leverage all this information you have to provide a better experience for the employer. And then be able to promote the fact that you are the place they could go to for better benefits communication. And then you'd be able to sell that to prospects too. So the action items are, if you haven't surveyed your clients, do it. If you're haven't set up a strategy to start contacting your carriers for content, do it. If you haven't engaged us to help promoting the idea of we could start leveraging web and mobile text messaging and online chat for benefits communication and education, we could help you promote that too. Another question that was here, will you be sending the recording of this webinar? We will be posting this webinar recording on Broker's Portal for everyone to have.
We will also have the slide deck presentation. I know we had a lot of people asking for the actual PowerPoint presentation. That will be up on Broker's Portal, as well as the one from the last session as well.
Great. We'll hang out a few minutes here. I'm going to end the recording right now, but if there's any other questions, please type them in or send us an email. Thank you very much for participating. We'll just hang out a minute.